Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Meshy TV. I'm so glad that you are back. I'm so glad that I'm back. So today we are going to be talking about something that has been on my heart for quite some time that I think that a lot of you not only need right now, but I think that a lot of you have been really struggling with, as I have been struggling with it. So as I'm making progress in my own wellness journey, you guys already know I'm going to be sharing all of the lessons that I have learned in hopes that maybe perhaps it will help you feel a little bit more empowered, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today in today's video. We are going to be talking about some of the symptoms and the signs that you might exhibit right now if you want to take your power back, if you are becoming more empowered. I'm going to be not only talking to you about what empowerment is, but I will give you some of the most common signs or symptoms, as you may, on what it's like to be or becoming more empowered and taking that power back into your own hands when it comes to your health. So if you wanted to see some of the signs and symptoms, then just stay tuned and let's get right into this. So first and foremost, why are we even talking about empowerment? Well, the reason why I thought that this would be so relevant and to talk to you about this is simply because I see in our society currently through so many events that humanity as a whole is being pulled into so many different directions. There's a lot of polarity that is being created. There's a lot of division. People are being highly triggered by the events that are happening, not just through a pandemic, but through local societies. And if you pay close attention to some of the conversations that go on here locally in your own communities, you will absolutely find that not many people are in a mental space when they really want to feel empowered. So in a lot of ways, most people actually feel really lost and really confused of what we are able to do and what we are not able to do. So this is exactly why I wanted to talk to you about a concept of empowerment. To me, empowerment goes back to not only freedom of choice, but to choose and use your own discernment. And discernment to me goes back to just really deciding what feels internally right and what feels out of alignment, what feels like there's something missing there's something that's just a bit off. And if you pay close attention to how your intuition works, then you can pretty much find the answers to this. Now, I'm not going to be going into this in this video of how to listen to your intuition. If you guys want to see that video, comment below and let me know. I would love to create that for you. For today, I just wanted to give you some of the common signs that you might also be sort of like a black sheep in your own community, which is not actually a bad thing. Just stay with me on this. So let's talk about what is the first sign if you are becoming more empowered. The very first sign I would have to say is that you stop asking for validation and confirmation of what you're doing and your actions. You stop asking for external validation for all of those things. For external validation for how you're feeling, external validation from other people of what you're thinking, why you believe what you believe, why you do the things that you do. All of that, they all sort of go back to just you stop completely asking for this external validation from people that you may or may not know to really truly validate who you are, what you believe in, what you do, and why you do what you do. So that could be like a workout program, that could be an eating style, that could be a religion, the things that you believe in, the way you dress, where you go to work. It could be a number of different ways that, whether it's conscious or unconscious, you might be asking for or you might have asked for validation in the past. And perhaps now you're finding yourself just saying, no, thank you. I actually don't need your validation. I don't need you to validate my belief system because I am really strong and solid in what I believe in. I know why I believe in it. I know why I practice what I practice. And if you don't believe in that, no problem. That's your choice. That's your freedom of choice. But I'm going to continue on in the path that I'm on because it's serving me. So there's also that sense of deep fulfillment within the choices that you're making. Again, it could be Maybe it's, you work out 3 times a week and people don't agree with you. Or you go to the gym when other people are too scared to go to the gym right now because it's too risky, or like whatever, what have you, right? It could be a number of different ways that you might be getting validation that you actually don't feel the need to really run your own decisions by external sources. And I just want you to just take a moment and pause of how powerful that is. Because we make choices, but honestly, as humans, we are sort of not only taught, but we are also conditioned to be hurt, like to be in packs. So when we're not seeking for external validation from the tribe or from the pack that we're in, that's a really big power move. It's a really big, powerful step towards really owning your own choices. So you're not only taking responsibility for the good decisions that you're making, but if you're making a mistake, you're also willing to take responsibility for that too. So that's fantastic and good on you. Okay, let's move on to number 2. What would be the number 2 sign that you are exhibiting signs that you are ready or you are becoming a lot more empowered with your choices? You become aware, and this kind of goes into number 1, but you become aware that following the status quo might not be serving you anymore. So let me repeat this for you. You become aware that following the status quo will no longer serve you in the best way that you can imagine for yourself. Whether it's serving your health, serving your career, serving your mental health, serving your well-being, serving your family, serving your community, serving in whatever aspect of your life you're trying to look at, following the herd essentially might not be the best decision for you. It might not be the best possible way for you to move forward. So here's my thing on this. I always have a little bit of the rebel in me. I always want to kind of fight the system, right? I always want to kind of go against it and push back and question, not so much question the status quo, but question why. Right? So not so much that I want to go against the herd necessarily, but just question and go deeper as to why. Why will that serve me? And if you're finding yourself asking that same question, and if you're finding yourself sort of looking at things as they're unfolding and you're just like, ooh, none of this adds up, right? Like none of this makes sense. And sometimes things don't make sense. So I mean, there's not much you can do about that. But internally, you will absolutely have this voice that tells you like something's off. You're being fed something and a lot of people are buying into it. And somehow you have a hard time buying into this. And so why? Why are you going against the grain? Why is that? Well, you're going against the grain because you see a different way. And because you believe that maybe that's not the best way that you can move forward. And again, I'm not here to challenge your beliefs on masks. I'm not here to challenge your beliefs on, whether or not kids should go back to school or not. I think that those are all so personal questions and personal decisions. But if you're finding yourself constantly questioning the narrative that you're being fed through different sources, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the news, it can honestly just be like you talk to your friend that you've known for like 20 years and you no longer agree with like the collective belief system, that might be a sign that you just started to sort of see a different direction that you wanted to go into, and perhaps that might suit you and might suit your family in a different way. So I always I'm always on a lookout for like the rebels in our society, because sometimes those rebels have a point. I don't necessarily think that they're always correct, and So here's what I mean. And I will give you an easy example that has nothing to do with the pandemic, just so that you can kind of relate to this. So maybe you decided that you wanted to get a new puppy, just like I have. We'll use me as an example. Why not? So I decided that I thought that this would be a great time for me to purchase a new puppy. And I knew that this will take work for me to, potty train the puppy, and just in general, making sure that like the puppy kind of grows up and matures in a way that it suits our lifestyle, right? But I mean, whenever you change something, whenever you change the dynamic of something, we all, like all of the other particles, they all have to adjust. So we need to acknowledge that. So my expectation of buying a puppy was just that I knew that I'm taking on more work. I knew that I will probably up and down at night. I knew that I will probably be tired. I knew that, the puppy will likely chew a bunch of things, but then will also likely, over the long term, buying another dog when we already have a dog, like it just energetically, like to me, that just made sense. So I already went in with the expectation, knowing that it will likely be a lot more work at the very beginning, and then it will become a little bit easier as we go on. So going against the grain for me here would be like when you're getting all that pushback from people, right? Because if this decision was like up to my husband, for example, he would have never bought a puppy. Like, let's just be real. He never had dogs before he has met me. And so for him, he would not really understand fully, like, having an animal, like, why would you, like, you know what I mean? Like, so he will likely only focus on the negative aspects of owning a puppy, right? Whereas the rebel in me, would go against that grain and constantly challenge that belief system, because I would constantly show him proof of his belief system, how wrong it was, and how limiting and small that thinking was, and how that small limiting thinking applied to the puppy situation can trickle into other areas of life, and how that actually limits him. So, I mean, you have to kind of understand that, like, the mindset that you have, it gets applied to all areas of life. It doesn't just get applied to that one single decision that you're making about, I don't know, like something minute. Because it becomes a belief system. It applies to all areas of your life. So if you're finding that you're rebelling against the status quo and what you're being fed and how you should think, it's an absolute sign that you are most definitely becoming a lot more empowered than you think. And my third, I mean, there's a lot more, obviously, but these are the three that I'm going to just cover today. So the third sign that you're becoming a lot more empowered than you think. So the last sign that I'm going to share with you in this video that tells you that you are most definitely getting ready, or you're already feeling a lot more empowered, you're taking that power back, is that your inner circle, your close circle of people that you spend the most amount of time with, or that you listen to, or that you respect, has changed from about a year ago, or even from a month ago. It has changed. You're no longer placing the same people on that pedestal or on that high importance or in that VIP section as you did before. And the best way that you can test this is when you're trying to make a decision about something, whose voice inside your head shows up and goes on? And what does that voice sound like? Does that voice sound encouraging and positive and cheering you on? Or is that voice very negative, telling you that you're going to likely fail and presenting you with absolute crisis, worst case scenario, rather than best case scenario? And if you're finding that the voice inside your head is no longer the same people as it was before, maybe perhaps in the past you were listening, you would have like your mom's voice inside your head, and she would be like nagging on you and telling you how things can absolutely spiral out of control in any situation, and how you're a failure. And perhaps that has changed from that to, you know what? It will likely work out. Maybe it's not going to be as perfect as you thought that it would be, but we're still going to be okay, and just keep going. And this serves a lot of people, and we need to do this. So you have to kind of pay attention to like whose voice inside your head do you listen to. Maybe right now it could be Rachel Hollis. I don't know. Maybe it's Tony Robbins. Like, I have no idea. But if the voice inside your head has changed and it has shifted to more of a positive voice, for one, you must wonder who it is. And two, you must wonder when that shift has taken place, because that's a very powerful message that energetically, whether you realize it or not, you're sending out that you're no longer going to be living in the lowest vibrational being, but you're changing your thought patterns, and the people that are around you will have to match that frequency. So to me, it goes back to like a very simple concept that everything that you think, that you come across, like you probably heard me say that everything is energy. But really, what does that mean, right? Like, what does it mean when someone says everything is energy? Well, everything is either stagnant or moving energy, and it's all based on frequency. So whatever your thoughts are, whatever your actions are, whatever your intentions are, those all create a certain level of frequency. And the more you're tapping into that level of frequency, whether it's peace, it's love, it's gratitude, it's joy, it's abundance, that has a level of frequency that it emits from your brain. So that's what you end up attracting back into your life, which also means that the type of people that will resonate at that same frequency will be gravitated towards you. But what's also true at the exact same time is that the people that were in your life in the past that were resonating, let's say, at a lower frequency, so maybe you were doing a lot more gossiping, maybe you were, you passed the time just by talking about people behind their backs, and you were like complaining and being and nagging and just really talking about and figuring out like why are other people are making more money, or why are they getting ahead, or you were just spending a lot more time complaining in the past. Well, that emits a certain level of frequency, and lower vibrational frequency always just sort of attracts lower vibrational frequency people. So if you're finding that like the people that you're hanging out with right now versus who you hung out with, let's say about a year ago or even a month ago, if that has shifted drastically, that means that you're more than likely you're ready, and you already are feeling a lot more empowered, because you changed the type of people that you're hanging out with, which means that you're getting a different level of support system than you have in the past. Now, here's the kicker. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys. These were just the 3 quick symptoms, I guess. I actually came up with about 10 more, 9 to 10 more on top of these. So if you wanted to check it out, I have actually created a downloadable guide that you can grab. It gets sent straight to your inbox, and it shows you some of the different symptoms that you might have that kind of talks about, what does it truly mean to feel empowered. So if you guys wanted to download that, I will leave a link down in the description so you can take a look at that. But we will talk a lot more in the coming weeks about what it means to feel empowered, how can you take that power back, and how can we move forward with making sure that our frequency is kept high while we're moving through a high level of uncertainty. So we will chat more about how can you integrate high level frequencies, how can you tap into high level frequencies if you haven't already, and how can we integrate mind, body, soul connection into one cohesive way where you're not necessarily spending hours and hours with spiritual practices, but you just wanted like quick, easy, tangible way that you can apply it to your life so that you can feel a little bit more empowered. I think that this is such a big topic, and I think we need to chat about it. And likely you will probably resonate with a lot of these things that I'm telling you, because you're either doing them or you're becoming more aware that those are the things that you really are missing in your own wellness journey. So that was sort of like the idea behind what I wanted to share with you guys, because I thought that while we can chat about intentionality and spirituality, but I wanted to break it down for you in a very tangible way that you can apply it to your life right away, instantly. So let me know in the comments which one of the 3 tips have you resonated with the most, and what does it mean for you to be empowered? I would love to hear from you guys. Please let me know in the comments. And in the meanwhile, you already know what I'm going to tell you. If you like this video, you can give me a thumbs up. You can also support the channel by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. And that way you get notified every single time that I release a new video. And in the meanwhile, you already know what I'm going to tell you. Just keep seeking wellness seekers, because you're just so much more powerful than you think. And I will see you guys again in my next video. Bye.